Jets' final drive, and it is finally game week. Zach, we've made it. We've gotten through OTAs, mini camp, training camp, the lulls of the preseason. The Jets are going to play a game that counts. They're going to play that game against the maybe bitter rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers, in large part because they definitely have a quarterback that they wanted no part of in Aaron Rodgers, leading Pittsburgh's offense. Aaron Rodgers, we're going to discuss that. The Alijah Vera-Tucker injury, we're going to get to that. It is an action-packed show. My friend, are you ready?
Man, I'm not only ready for this episode, I am just so ready for real football. Tonight is going to be the first game of the NFL season, and I'm so tired of talking about the same things. You know, this job, especially this last week where there's like nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's just the same things. We've written the same words, said the same sentences, so many different ways. I go on all these radio shows, and I appreciate them interviewing me, but it's always the same 5 questions. I have my same answer, and I'm just like, I'm ready for like a game so I can actually analyze something and stop trying to pretend like I know what's going to happen this season.
And it is a hell of a game this evening with the Super Bowl champion Eagles playing off against the Dallas Cowboys at the Link. Not far, like 35 minutes actually from where I live. It's going to be an interesting one. But we're not here to talk Cowboys. We are not here to talk Philadelphia Eagles. We are here to talk the New York Jets and, more importantly, their opponent this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is no one better to help us out in discussing the state of the Pittsburgh Steelers, discussing the state of old friend Aaron Rodgers, than the Pat McAfee Show's Mark Kaboly. Mark, former co-worker for both of us, actually, at one point in time. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing? You looking like you're doing well.
We're good, dude. A little less drama. We don't necessarily... Look, we tune into the Pat McAfee Show for you, but it's actually going to be a pretty enjoyable experience to not have to tune into it for Aaron Rodgers' appearances every single week to hear what he's going to say and who he's going to criticize. But I do, well, honestly, like Zack and I were talking about this going in here. There was no one better than you to have on the show because aside from seeing some clips here and there and knowing that Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Steelers, I haven't seen him practice since he was here with the Jets. We haven't seen him in a preseason game. You have seen him, though. So broad stroke, big picture question here. I know it's very general, but how does our old friend Aaron Rodgers look?
Oh, he looks absolutely great. Wait, what do you do? Dot, compared to what the Steelers had at quarterback the past 4 or 5.
We used to do that all the time. We used to do that for all the Aaron Rodgers practices, yeah.
I mean, he's a breath of fresh air compared to, the no offense, Mitch Trubisky's of the world and the Kenny Pickett of the world and so on and so forth since Ben Roethlisberger's been there. But, hey, you're right. I mean, he's looked good in practice. The arm's still there. The release is still there. The smarts are still there. Everything he has the offense down already. The only question mark is we have yet to see him in a live action game. Mike Tomlin went against his norm and didn't play him at all. He didn't play a lot of his offensive players, including DK Metcalf, in the preseason at all. So there's only so much you can glean from what you see in the practice, OTAs. Oh, not even OTAs. He wasn't there for OTAs. What am I talking about? Mini camp, when he didn't even take part in that. So far, so good. Doesn't look like he's 41, almost 42. He does look like a guy that is healthy. He looks like he's reinvigorated, and he looks like he's ready to go. I'm not saying he's 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, but he's the best they've had in a while, and I think it might be just good enough to get him to at least the playoffs.
That is a thing that the Steelers tend to go to quite a bit. I mean, I haven't covered a Jets playoff game ever, and I started covering them in 2014. But you mentioned he looks pretty good. I think the big question mark that I had about him was his mobility. Now, year one with the Jets, which was 3 years ago at this point, he looked fine. Like there was no issues. He wasn't running around like he used to when he was in his 20s, but he had more than enough mobility to move within the pocket, could still escape. The Achilles injury took him back a bit, and then he was dealing with knee issues, hamstring issues, all that stuff last year, which basically made him only able to play from the shotgun. I have seen some clips that have come out from Steelers camp. I don't know if they were just cherry-picked, but he didn't necessarily look great moving around, looked kind of old at times. How would you gauge that athleticism that's there? Like, does he have mobility still? Is that there, or is he kind of now just a pocket passer?
Yeah, I think I saw the clip that you were referring to. And you know how it is in today's world. You look at it and say, wait a second, is this real or is this AI? gotta look at this a little quicker because I've never seen him like that in his month and a half at practice. I think that was definitely cherry picked somehow because I have yet to see him look that bad. I admit he looked terrible at that point when he was, I think, rolling to the left at that point. He's not going to get down the field and run the ball at all. I mean, he's not going to, lead the team in rushing. He's not going to break off a 60-yarder. They're not going to ask him to do that as well. He has just enough to be able to sidestep potential pressure, get outside the pocket a little bit, and throw it. I'm just, I would not go by that clip that you've seen. I think he is as healthy as you can possibly get from a 41-year-old, and I think the legs, I haven't really noticed anything about his legs that even look bad. He looks like to me, looks a little trimmed down a little bit as well. So he has been putting in a lot of work in outside here as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't quite believe that completely of what you saw on the internet there.
So last year, the Jets, as I'm sure you've heard, they ran the ball the least amount in the NFL. Arthur Smith obviously likes to run the ball quite a bit. I'm curious, what's been like seeing those two kind of mesh their personalities and styles, and what do you kind of envision as the identity of this offense with those two at the head of it?
Well, those two are getting along really good. I mean, Rodgers even said, it's getting to the point now where I can finish his sentences already. And I'm like, wow, you've only been really around him for a month or so right now. But hey, the Steelers want to run the ball. They want to run the ball. They got a very talented yet unproven and inexperienced offensive line. They spent a lot of money or a lot of draft capital on that offensive line. They got first rounder in Broderick Jones. They got second rounders in Zack Frazier, first rounder Troy Fautanu, but they haven't played a ton of snaps at all. Fautanu hasn't played hardly at all, and he was last year's 20th overall pick. They want to run the ball. They want to play action off of that. And the big thing they want to do is get the ball to DK Metcalf, not down the field, but some of these catching runs, crossers where he can catch and do his work in the middle of the field. And it's going to be hard to find 3-4 tight ends as good as what the Steelers have right now. And Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, and all of a sudden 6'8", 310-pound Darnell Washington all of a sudden learned how to, catch the ball and be a force. I mean, I've never seen – every single time we talk to Aaron Rodgers, he brings up Darnell Washington, a guy that might have 15 catches in his career, and how impressed he is with him. So there are going to be a lot of tight end heavy stuff. You're running off of that. You'll even see times potentially on Sunday where they go 3 tight ends, and the 4th tight end would be Jonnu Smith playing running back and toss it to him, and he runs the ball. That's how much Arthur Smith and this offense loves tight ends.
So it seems like the offense is creative, which is unique, because I know when Aaron was here with the Jets, he wanted just the most basic lineup, go and run it. You mentioned those tight ends. You mentioned DK Metcalf. I think we all know what DK can do, but I don't think you mentioned any other receivers opposite DK Metcalf. And I was looking at the guys, man. It's not much after Pickens got traded. Is it kind of just they're trotting out people out there and just saying, hey, we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna go to DK, we're gonna go to our tight ends, and we just hope that somebody steps up, whether it's Austin or someone like that? I mean, what is the situation opposite DK?
It depends on what time you're talking about here. Earlier in the season, they're looking for somebody to fill that number 2 hole. It never really materialized. So all of a sudden, they're in love with Roman Wilson, their 3rd-round pick last year, who played 5 snaps last year because he could just never get on the field. He was injured. Calvin Austin, who is a diminutive individual, but he's fast and he's tough, but he doesn't have a lot of experience as well as that number 2 type of guy as well. So there's going to be a lot of number 2 by committee, a lot of extra tight ends. And you can't forget a guy like Kenny Gainwell, too. They brought him over from Philly. They'll use him in situations as well. But as of right now, if you're looking who they're looking for Calvin Austin to step up to be that number 2, but they really are high on Roman Wilson. But you just can't. It's the whole thing that happened last year with him. They kept searching and searching and searching for that number 2 and never was able to do it. This is 2 years now, from Van Jefferson to Allen Robinson now to, they brought in Robert Woods, and he couldn't make the team because he was pretty much washed at this time. So They like what they have, but none of them have proven anything quite yet.
And I think you kind of alluded to this earlier with Tro Fatanu, and they have Broderick Jones, who ironically, like Jets fans were pissed when the Steelers jumped ahead of them in 22, and now Will McDonald is one of their favorite players. But I'm curious, like, what's your confidence level in those two guys as you go into the season? And they're going to be they're going against Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, who are pretty unique kind of like defensive ends. So I'm curious what's your confidence level in those guys?
Yeah, I think Fatanu's he's a guy that's he's good. I mean, you don't even need to worry about him. He's has his sets down. He's powerful. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be playing the right tackle for the first time. Obviously, like I said, he was injured last year. I don't think there's much worry with him. Broderick Jones is moving from the right side to his more natural left side. He played left at Georgia, but he only had 11 starts at Georgia. He was extremely young. He's still extremely young. I think he's only 23 years old, and he has been not as good as he could have been on the right side, at least last year. A lot of it's been between the ears more than physically. So they're hoping to move him to the left. And it's a different offense than before. They want to do that old Denver outside zone stretch run and take advantage of those guys' athleticism. I mean, you're looking at Broderick Jones is now a sub 300 pounds. He dropped a lot of weight. And he's extremely athletic, but that doesn't do you much good if, in the pass rushing thing. So if you're looking at the Steelers and you're looking where Jets could have a huge advantage, it would be trying to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, which obviously he doesn't want, from the outside edges and the two guys you were mentioning, because it's still out on those two tackles right now. Now the interior guys are good. Zack Frazier at center is really good. Yep. Mason McCormick is good. Sam Alu, come from Philly a couple years ago, is really good. But that is still a big question, man. It's a definite problem going in until they prove it's not a problem.
Flipping to the other side of the ball, I don't know if there's more than one defensive player better in this league than T.J. Watt. I mean, it's fun from afar, man. It's just fun watching him play football. The Jets have a pretty good left tackle in Olu Fashanu, who had a really strong rookie year, really high expectations going into this year. Armand Membu, their rookie on the other side, struggled a lot in training camp with Will McDonald, struggled a lot in training camp with Jermaine Johnson, struggled a lot in joint practices with everybody that the Giants threw at him. I would assume that's probably where T.J. Watt's going to line up. But Mark, does he like a side? So, for example, is he going to rush the right tackle every single snap? Will they move him left, right, let him pick which tackle he wants to rush against, depending on the down, the play, the situation? I mean, basically, how often is Armand Membu, the Jets' right tackle, going to be seeing T.J. Watt?
That's the question in Pittsburgh for the past couple of years now, because teams were able to, over the past couple of years, scheme T.J. Watt out of the game because he lined up the same exact position every single time. So this year, they're pretty much assuring that they're going to move him around more, just so he's not, you don't know where he's at constantly. So you can't double team, you can't chip him, you can't do any of that stuff. So they kept a lot of that under wraps. They showed a little bit during preseason or during the training camp. So we're not quite sure how much they use it. They've been talking about it for years, but then he would come out and do it one play, and that's it. I think he's more – at first, he was only willing to stay on the one side and be done. That's where he felt comfortable. That's where he wanted to go. Now I think he's realizing that teams are quite real – or scheming against him to take him out of games. So I would expect him to move around a little bit. The good thing about the Steelers is Alex Highsmith's no slouch on the other side either. I mean, he's a guy that's a couple years removed from 13, 14 sacks. Nick Herbig, I'm not quite sure if he's even going to play yet. He's had a hamstring for the past 3 or 4 weeks, but every time he gets in the game, he's able to bring the pressure as well. So they like what they have on the outside edge rushers, but that's the big question here in Pittsburgh is as well. Are they going to move T.J. Watt around like they pretty much promised they will? My thought is I'll believe it when I see it. So we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Cam Heyward, what's the real quick on him? Just before one more a couple questions here from Zack. But Cam Heyward, is he going to play? I mean, I saw a tweet from Rap that it was a rest day today, but then there's a contract. I mean, what's going on with Heyward?
Well, he thought he outplayed his contract last year, and he did. I mean, he was an All-Pro last year. He was unbelievable at age 35 last year. He wanted some more money this year. He signed a 3-year deal last year, basically not much money. He was more worried about having that 3-year deal and be locked in for a couple of years just in case he wasn't able to come back. Now he had a great season, and he wanted some more money. A lot of people were thinking that they could have added a sweetener to his current deal, which they did to Antonio Brown a couple years ago. That has yet to materialize. He wasn't happy. He was sitting out during training camp, holding in, only taking part in like individuals, no team drills. A couple weeks ago, he's back with team drills. He's been fully participating. Then now today, it's not unusual for him to have one day off a week, even this early as a 36-year-old, as a Veterans Day off. Mike Tomlin came out and said on Tuesday, yeah, I expect him to play. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin said today, yeah, I'm expecting him to play. Those two are not putting their neck on the line out there and allowing people to criticize them if they aren't 100% sure the guy's going to play. The only question is he going to get a couple extra bucks before he goes out there on Sunday, because the Steelers don't really negotiate contracts in season.
So one more for you. This game's fascinating because the starting quarterback for the Jets obviously was the Steelers' starting quarterback last year, week 1, and Rodgers flip-flopped. Like, it's kind of fascinating. I'm curious what your perspective was on Fields last year and kind of what you feel about him, like, just broadly as like a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely wonderful human. I mean, everybody in that locker room loved him. I mean, he was great like that. Early on in the season, he was successful, but I don't think they were successful because of him. A lot of defensive, a lot of kicking. There's a lot of times he fumbled. I think he fumbled 4, 5, 6 times in those first 6 games, but I don't think he lost any of them. There was a couple interceptions that he could have thrown that were dropped as well. It's the same thing that you guys are probably seeing. I assume you guys talk about this all the time. The consistency with his throwing is just not there. Sometimes he just looks unbelievable. You're like, wow, what a throw. Then you see him and you're like, oh my goodness, what a throw that was. And that's just what his MO has been since the first day he got to Chicago. And I don't think you changed that at all. And I don't think the Steelers, the reason why they didn't stay with him, first of all, Russell Wilson was here. They thought they could give it a better shot with him. And he did go first 7 wins with Russell Wilson. So it's hard to complain with the decision of that. But I just think Justin was just limited in his ability to be consistent down the field. There was nothing more than that. And I don't know if that changes in one off season.
Last one for you, Mark, real quick, then we'll let you get out of here. The line right now is 2.5. Jets home underdog, Steelers favored. What's your pick for the game?
Ooh. Steelers I think are a better team.
Yeah.
But the Steelers typically do not play well in opening days. They typically don't beat teams by a lot of points. So I would imagine it's going to be probably a somewhat lower scoring game, and it's probably going to be a game that's within 3 to 5 points. I'll go Steelers 24-17. That might be a little bit more than I was expecting to say. Be honest with you, now I'm saying it out loud here, but it's going to probably be a last second, turn away from the Steelers defense to win this game. Nobody's leaving here in the third quarter because of a blowout, put it that way. But I think the Steelers will find a way to win.
There we go. All right, Mark Kaboly, thank you so much for joining Jets Final Drive, man. We will see you at MetLife Stadium in a couple of days here.
All right, we'll see you fellas out there.
See you, Mark.
All right, that was Mark Kaboly of the Pat McAfee Show. Great guy. Zack and I have known him for many, many years. Thank you guys so much again for joining another episode of Jets Final Drive, no matter where you're watching us from. If that's SNY.TV, Facebook, we are streaming on X as well, and then, of course, on YouTube. If you guys are watching us on any of the platforms that are not YouTube, why don't you head on over to YouTube? We love Facebook, we love X, we love SNY.TV, but the cool thing about watching us on YouTube is there is a live comment section that you guys can interact with the show, interact with me, interact with Zack, interact with our amazing producers, ask questions, voice your comments, have some concerns, let us know, and then at different points in the show, we're going to take a few of those questions just to keep you guys involved. So again, we love everywhere you're watching us. If you're listening to us afterwards via podcast, that's pretty great as well. But if you are watching us anywhere else and you want to head over to YouTube, that is the place to be because of that comment section where you can interact live with the show. All right, Zack, transitioning here. Mark touched upon it. I want to touch upon it a little bit more. The Aaron Rodgers storyline to me is fascinating, dude. Like I think back to Aaron and when he arrived here for the first time and just the hope, the hype, the king who was promised almost, right? Because the Jets had this roster that they had built up that somehow managed to win 7 games with Zach Wilson. They viewed themselves as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who were just a quarterback away, got Tom Brady, and then were literal Super Bowl contenders for the next 3 years. They get Aaron Rodgers, and it all just blows up. And I do think he was a much better teammate than he gets credit for. I think he was better with the fans than he gets credit for. And ultimately, I'm curious if you feel the same way with me on this. I think that they are a playoff team if he does not hurt his Achilles 4 plays into the season, because I feel like everyone was bought in that summer. The players were bought in that summer. And when he got hurt and then missed time, he was criticizing the team on the Pat McAfee show. I think that's where it all just fell apart. And, you know, all the progress they'd made in the offseason, they were just never able to recapture it last year. But I do think that it was going to work year one if he hadn't gotten hurt.
So I'm not as confident in that as you are. I do think they obviously would have had a better chance of being a playoff team with Aaron Rodgers than with Zach Wilson, who was shot at that point, confidence-wise, because he'd been benched so many times. Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, he's better than those guys. But on the flip side, I think him going out as early as he did exposed a lot of holes in the raft, so to speak. Nathaniel Hackett, way worse than we could have imagined. The offensive line was not as good as we thought it was going to be. Dwayne Brown was shot at that point. And Aaron Rodgers, at that point, even in his career, the year before in Green Bay, he was struggling getting out of the pocket more and making plays outside of the pocket and being mobile. And, they won 7 games. A couple of those were very close games against bad teams. Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure he gets them another win or two. I'm not 100% confident he gets them to the playoffs. I do think it's more likely. And the excitement was there. The hype was real. Robert Saleh saved the picture of him running out of the tunnel with the American flag on his phone the entire season. That was his background because it was a reminder of what could have been. The Jets threw their arms up and what do you want us to do? They didn't have a plan for if he was hurt. There's a lot that went wrong. It just exposed a lot of problems they had in the foundation ultimately. And that's kind of what led to last year when he was back. It was a disaster in so many other ways beyond even just him. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to think about that day. It's so crazy to think about. It's less than 2 years ago. That's not a long time. And we're about to watch him come out of the tunnel in a different uniform. And 2 years ago, I've been to a Taylor Swift concert at MetLife. I've been to a Paul McCartney concert at MetLife. I've been to Eagles games against the Giants. I've never heard the stadium as loud as it was when he ran out of that tunnel. The press box was vibrating. It was really a cool night. And I couldn't tell you most of what happened the rest of the game because we all kind of blacked out a little bit. We were all just trying to figure out what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. I vividly remember all the Twitter doctors are making their diagnoses. And you're they're saying Achilles. I'm shut up, Connor. You don't know if it's an Achilles. It's probably an ankle. Because I'm there's no way. Everything we just wrote about for 6 months, the hype was there for us too. It was feeding us content. We were writing all summer Hard Knocks, and then within seconds or minutes or whatever. Over. And so walking out of that stadium that day with you, with Andy, with all the other writers, it's just what just happened? It was about to be everything we just talked about all summer was just going to vanish, and we were just going to be covering Zach Wilson at quarterback again. And we were. And then it was another insane season with so much happened after that too. You had the whole thing in the background of Rodgers, and this is kind of the point I wanted to get back to, the lingering I'm going to make a comeback. They wouldn't stop talking about it. And I think that kind of stuff is what ultimately rubbed people in the locker room the wrong way more than them not liking Rodgers. The way he was put on a pedestal by the previous coaching staff, by this organization, to where it felt like it was Aaron Rodgers and then it was 52 other players. And I think Aaron Rodgers was a good teammate, and I think he was liked by his teammates, but I think a lot of guys in that room got tired of all the conversation, all the noise. There was all the attention on them no matter what they were doing. And so that's why I don't think people were there were some players that were mad that he left, but I think broadly they were ready to move forward from that era at the end of the day.
Yeah, the players that were angry were the ones that just now were viewing this as like, okay, we're punting on 2025 now. Like a guy like Quinnen Williams, who's like, dude, all I've done is lose. Like, just what are we punting on it for? You know, because they viewed Aaron as a chance to do it. It was something, man. He was going to come back that year. Like, I remember talking to him about this and him saying, like, if they had beaten the Dolphins, he was coming back. Now, they got shut out and shellacked by the Dolphins, but if they had won that, he was going to play. I mean, he wanted to play even if they were eliminated from the playoffs. The Jets, though, and the powers that be were like, dude, we're not risking that. Like, we're not risking it. But as long as there was a 0.001% chance of them making the postseason, Aaron Rodgers was going to play. I think it was after the Thursday night game. I think it was the Washington one was the one where he was thinking about coming back. The thing I'm always going to remember about that night when he got hurt, though, real quick, dude, was that was Monday night. Tuesday was going to be my first day solo watching Brooke because Bree had just gone back to work. And I remember her saying, like, look, I know you're going to get back from the game like 2, 3 in the morning, but like, what's your schedule? I'm like, Bree, I was like, the day after the game's easy. It's just conference calls. Nothing really happens. Like, you talk to coach, 3 players. I don't have any obligations with SNY other than a nighttime hit for like sports night. Like, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Rodgers goes down, and I remember texting her and being like, hun, we need to find some babysitter. My mom needs to call off work. Your mom needs to get here. We need to get somebody here because my easy day, Tuesday, is now completely shot to hell. Like, it is going to be constant TV, writing columns, digging. It was absolute hysteria, man. It was crazy. You mentioned him running out of the stadium or running out of that tunnel again. There has been this little narrative. I saw WFAN go crazy, and you feel very, very strongly about this. And I saw you clap back at Tierney and Sal, SNY's own Sal right now. You were team boo. You're team boo. Like this whole like all right. So to set the stage real quick is that it's should you boo or should you not boo Aaron Rodgers? The argument to not boo him is that he chose the Jets over the Las Vegas Raiders. He arrived here. He did take a significant pay cut. He didn't have to play for the Jets with no one. He chose to give the time. He embraced the city, embraced the culture. Didn't work. He moved on, but still, he bled for this organization. Your thing is F all of that, boo the hell out of the guy, basically. Okay, if I have that right.
That's not my thing. Wow, just misquoting me. That is not my point. Yeah, my point is... my point is, who cares? Like, they're fans, and it's the opposing quarterback, a guy who's here for 2 years, played 1 season. They failed miserably. Whether you want to blame him or not, fine. He's going to be playing for the other team. Like, absolutely you should boo him. The Jets booed him when he was on the Jets last year. The offense would go 3 and out. There were stretches where the offense was an absolute disaster, and Jets fans were booing the Jets. So why would you not boo Aaron Rodgers if he was the Steelers quarterback? It maddens me that this is even a conversation. I get you have to fill the airtime sometimes. I just think the idea that like you should not boo this man. He wanted to be a Jet. So what? Like, he was here for a year. Who cares? Like, if C.J. Mosley was on the other team running out of the tunnel, I'd understand you saying, don't boo C.J. Mosley. Like, he really wanted to be good here, and it didn't work out. He was here for 7 years, got hurt, all that stuff. Quinnen Williams, if he's on another team coming through the tunnel, I get it. Don't boo Quinnen Williams. But whatever. Aaron Rodgers played here for 1 year. They were really bad last year. He was not especially good himself. They went 5-12. He left. He trashed the coach on the way out, the coach that everybody loves in this fan base now. And the owner. I don't think Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers. I mean, maybe he would, but I don't think he'd take it personally if he got booed anyway. He probably expects it. I don't know. Like, I think it's okay to have supported him when he was here and not want him to do well on Sunday. And so, yeah, you're a fan. You're a fanatic. That's the whole point. Jets fans are nuts in a lot of ways. And so, if the Jets fans are willing to boo the Jets as much as they do, which I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. They absolutely should a lot of the time. Some of the offenses we've had to watch, some of the offenses you've had to watch. Nathaniel Hackett, like, boo, I get it. He's not the quarterback anymore. You still should boo him. So I'm not saying boo him like in the way that you said. I'm saying boo him because he's the opposing team's quarterback. So, yeah, absolutely.
I'll live stream you guys when Aaron Rodgers runs out of the tunnel to see if Zack is in fact booing, because I bet you that he is.
Yeah,
I don't think you
gonna
mentioned
phone
it.
on me. Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I don't. You mentioned it. I don't think Aaron had any animosity or hate for the fans. Like, I don't think if the fans boo it, like last year, like there was no like. I don't think he. I shouldn't say I don't. I know that there was no felt disrespect from the fans. I think the disrespect that he felt was from ownership. He felt disrespect from the ownership of what he gave the organization, the pay cut that he took, and that kind of the last couple weeks they couldn't wait to get rid of him. And then obviously what Aaron Glenn did to close out there, to literally just get up and walk out of a meeting. Like, that is wild, man. Like, when we think about that, like how the Aaron Rodgers era ended with the Jets, where he flies across, and again, whatever, he flew across the country to basically get dumped. But to fly across the country and then for Aaron Glenn to walk out of the meeting, from what I've been told, literally in the middle of like Rodgers talking, just to get up, walk out, come back with Muji, and then tell him, "You want to play football?" Rodgers like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about it." Him to go, "Well, it's not going to be here." That pissed him off more than anything else. Where I can't wait to see, is there a handshake? Are there glares across, anything like that? But speaking of Aaron Glenn and speaking of Aaron Rodgers, one Zack Rosenblatt has a story up on The Athletic, which I don't read a lot because I can't. But I did read that one, and it was very, very impressive, Zack. Between the trip to Detroit, the guys you talked to. I mean, shout out you, dude. It's a hell of a story if you want to plug it a little bit for those of you that haven't read it yet.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. You know, I like doing stories where I get out of New Jersey and go like on certain locations. I just wanted to go to Detroit because the way they talk about him over there is very lovingly and like over the top almost. So I went. The Lions were very gracious. They gave me access to people in a way I haven't experienced that much, where I got to talk to Dan Campbell, Kelvin Shepard, their DC, a lot of these players that he's made an impact on. Yeah, they just told me stories about the kind of coach he was, like how important he was to the culture in Detroit. You know, 2021 is the year he points to a lot, that organization does, where like that's where they established the culture they were going to have for the 4 years. Like, yeah, they were 0-10-1, but if you looked at their practices when they were 0-10-1, like you wouldn't have known they were that. Like they were fighting. They actually, most of their losses that year were close. And so they like built the foundation. The key was they needed like support from ownership, and ownership came out and gave a show of support the next season when they started slow, and then they were off to the races. But like Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell, like they were almost not co-head coaches, but pretty close. Like Aaron Glenn was a sounding board for Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell let him run the room. He let him run the game plan. He let him like practice being a head coach, and that's why he's ready for what he is now. And it's kind of a similar task ahead in New York. You know, these are both tortured franchises, tortured fan bases that have dealt with a lot over the years, and they were coming off a dysfunctional era. They needed somebody to come in, shake some things up, create some accountability, create a different culture. And it worked there. And so now he's going to try and take the lessons he learned in Detroit and bring them to New York. And we'll see if it works. But I think everything about what the Lions did over 4 years is what the Jets want to accomplish ultimately. And that's kind of like, that was the goal of that story, which is at The Athletic if you guys want to read it.
Yeah, that's Zack's story on theathletic.com. Make sure you guys go over there. Subscribe to The Athletic if you don't already. I don't actually know anyone who doesn't subscribe to The Athletic at this point, which is crazy. Because I remember when I worked there, being like The Athletic, and people like The Atlantic, being like, no, The Athletic, it's new.
That still
like,
happens a little bit.
Yeah, now it's not. Now you got your byline on the Times. But yeah, go read Zack's story on Aaron Glenn, basically turning the page on Aaron Rodgers on The Athletic. It's a tremendous read. One of the best, honestly, Jet stories I've read in a while, man. So shout out to you.
Thank you.
Once again, we've talked about this a ton. Thank you guys so much for joining this episode at JFD. I mean, your loyal viewership is why we're back for season 2. Your loyal viewership is why the first 2 episodes of this show have been such a roaring success, in my opinion, which might just be a little bit biased. Wherever you're watching us right now, whether that's SNY.TV, Facebook, X, appreciate you guys there. However, if you are watching on YouTube, and I think this is the coolest part of this show, is that you can interact with us live. So there's that comment section on YouTube. Our producers are back watching this. They're monitoring for your comments, your concerns, your criticisms, all that stuff, and your questions. They're sending them to me. So if you're watching the show on YouTube, you can interact with us on that live chat. We're going to take a couple of those questions now, rapid fire here, Zack. This one's from Kevin O. Peterson. How long is it going to take us as fans to know if Aaron Glenn and Tanner Engstrand are the real deal as coaches? I feel like that more than anything is the biggest X factor for the Jets this year.
Yeah, I think that's not something we're going to be able to say early in the season. But I'd say even if they come out and look amazing in week 1, I don't think you can even jump to the conclusion off of that they're going to be that for the rest of the way. So I think probably by midseason is where you can have a pretty good feel about where this is going, and that's going to be about is the operation smooth on offense? Are they getting penalized a lot? Are they doing dumb things? Are they shooting themselves in the foot? All the stuff of the last few years. For Tanner Engstrand, it's about creativity, which they haven't had a lot of since LaFleur. So I think in that way you'll be able to see it, but I don't think it'll be until midseason if you'll see that what they're teaching is getting through and working or not.
I think we'll know earlier on Tanner as an offensive coordinator than we will as Aaron Glenn as a head coach, because I think you can tell pretty early on with a coordinator, does he have it or does he not?
Very fair.
And then you can evolve from that, because eventually, Tanner, this is going to be his first time as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. So eventually you're going to see his plays. It's the chess match. Defenses are going to build a game plan now once they have some tape on Tanner to take some stuff away. Can he evolve from there? But I think we'll be able to know after a month, does Tanner have it or does Tanner not, or does he have to change some things? And sure, coordinators can evolve and grow, but I think we'll know pretty early on if the Jets have something or not. With Aaron, it's going to be a culture. It's going to be how does he handle adversity. I mean, there's so much more that goes into being a good head coach than there is in just a coordinator. I mean, how are you going to navigate the you-know-what storm, the poo storm that's absolutely going to hit the fan at some point in time?
The poo storm. Oh, wow, you're so bad, Connor. The poo storm.
FCC, man. I'm trying not to get fined. I'm pretty sure SNY would make me pay that out of pocket. And I'm king of the expense reports, man. I've already been gotten talked to about some of the meal tickets that I file here on the road. So I'm not trying to add an FCC fine to what I've got to deal with. By the way, comment section is very much like you, Zach. They're going to be booing with you, Aaron Rodgers, when he runs out of the tunnel. That is also there as well. This one's from Lou Giordano. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. You should see all the phonetic spelling that I have on my sheet right here. Over under 4 sacks of Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. I'll go first with this one, Zach. I'm going to go under because I think the Steelers are going to run the hell out of the ball. I think the Steelers ultimately win this game close, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of passing opportunities for the Jets to bring him down. Would not surprise me if Aaron Rodgers throws 20 total times at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. I think they're going to pound the rock, so I'm going to go under the 4 sacks.
I mean, I'll go under more because I think when Rodgers knows the team's going to come at him with the blitz like that, I think they're going to be doing a lot of quick hitters. It's going to be DK Metcalf slants, screens to Jonnu Smith, screens to Jalen Warren. I do think they're going to get a couple sacks, though, because I don't think the Steelers' tackles are very good. So I'll say under, but maybe 2 or 3 sacks.
Thank you guys again for tuning into the show. Once again, those comments coming your way from the comment section, or those questions coming your way from the comment section on YouTube if you guys are watching us there. Again, love you guys on X. Love you guys on Facebook. Love you guys on SNY.TV. But the cool thing about YouTube is that you can interact with the show throughout. So hopefully we'll get a couple more comments and concerns and stuff like that a little bit later on. Speaking of concerns, Zach, there was a big one with the Jets. You knew things were going a little too smoothly, I think, this offseason with quiet training camp, quiet OTAs, quiet minicamp, quiet preseason. Everything was smooth sailing. There was no controversy. Despite the fact the Jets were tackling people, there were no injuries in practices. I mean, they seriously, everything was going well until Tuesday's practice when in individual drills, Alijah Vera-Tucker tore his triceps again. He is going to miss the full season. And it is a brutal blow, no matter how you look at it, from the Jets and for AVT. I mean, it's obviously brutal for AVT because this is now 3 years, or he's going to be missing 3 of the last 4 years, or most of 3 of the last 4 years with injuries. Also, just for the Jets, because he was looking like maybe their most consistent offensive lineman outside of Olu. Really sounding board and stabilizing force on the right side, where they're going to be starting a rookie in Armand Membu. And now, days before the season opener, he's out of the lineup, and the Jets need to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, the first reaction when I saw it. Also, Diana from The Athletic was the first one to report.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's old at this point. But my point being, so I knew it was coming, and the initial part of the reporting was that, she had initially heard, just to give a little inside baseball, she had heard that an offensive lineman on the Jets got hurt. And then she dug in to find out who it was, and she found out it was and I'm like, there's no way it was AVT. There's no way he has that bad of luck. John Simpson had been banged up going into the most recent practice, so I'm like, okay, maybe John Simpson re-injured something, and then turns out it's AVT, and then that it's season ending, and you just feel so bad for the kid. He's 26 years old. He was heading for a huge contract. A lot of offensive linemen have been getting new contracts the last few days for over $20 million a year. I think he's at his best, AVT, when he's fully healthy, is their best offensive lineman and Pro Bowl caliber. So, this is a tough blow for him. And I mean, you're losing your best offensive lineman, in my opinion. So your offensive line just got worse. I know fans are high on Joe Tippmann. You and I have argued about him, but on a base level, he is worse than Alijah Vera-Tucker at right guard. And so your offensive line just got worse. And so that's a big concern. Like you said, a few days before the season, to have this kind of a blow to kind of throw you for a loop to where you have to figure out what you're going to do. All of a sudden, that depth that I've been talking about all offseason, I think is pretty good depth. You have Josh Myers as a backup, you feel good about it. You have Chuks Okorafor as a backup, you feel good about it. And you have Max Mitchell as a backup and Xavier Newman. These are all guys with NFL experience. That's a solid group of backups. Now you have to move Josh Myers up, which is what I'm guessing they're going to do. You move Joe Tippmann over. Now you're not as deep anymore, and you don't have as much, experience on your bench. And this is a team that wants to run the ball and want to run it down your throat. Are they going to be able to do it as well without AVT there? With AVT next to Armand Membo, a rookie who has never played in the NFL, has had his ups and downs. I'm a little higher on his summer than you, but he has had ups and downs for sure. So, it's a concern. I still think this can be a solid offensive line. Just the ceiling was just lowered a decent amount to where, at its best, if everybody does their job with AVT in there, I think this is a top 5, top 10 unit. Without AVT in there, you could see drop it into the 15 and 20 range. So it's a big blow. They can survive it, but it's a big blow.
Yeah, I had dinner last night actually with a former Jets coach who was in town, and I was talking to him, and he hit me up. He goes, "Why were you asking me about Joe Tippmann earlier today?" I was like, "Well, he's probably going to be starting at guard now." He goes, "What happened?" He goes, "I've been knee deep in our prep." I was like, "AVT's out the year," and he was like, "You got to be kidding me." He goes, "Again?" I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, for what we paid to go up and get him, he goes, probably an overpay because we had what we traded to go up and get him and just kind of the maneuvering of the draft. He goes, but the thing about AVT is that maybe he develops into an all-pro, maybe he had the Pro Bowl potential. He goes, he's still just a damn good player. He goes, whether he's Pro Bowl, all-pro, not, he goes, he could play the next 12 years and be a starting guard and be a damn good football player. And I think the biggest problem now, Zach, and you touched upon it, is the shuffling of the chairs. And the lone silver lining in this is that when John Simpson missed time, the Jets had the opportunity to experiment with ways to fill. And I know he's left guard, he's not right guard, but they were able to give Max Mitchell some reps, able to give Xavier Newman some reps. And what they seemed to settle on that they were most comfortable with was Josh Myers takes over at center, Joe Tippmann takes over at guard. And it was fine enough. I mean, they were just scrimmaging against themselves. When that grouping went up against the New York Giants, they got their teeth kicked in. I mean, now granted, the Giants are probably going to kick most people's teeth in with Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence, but it was borderline embarrassing what that group did to the Jets' offensive line in those joint practices. They have cohesiveness in terms of that 5 playing together. Now, obviously, you're going to shift where Simpson's going to stay at left guard. You're probably going to put Tippmann over the right, but my thing is that, and any coach will tell you this, any NFL coach will tell you this, you can survive one poor piece on the offensive line. I'm not saying Joe Tippmann's poor. He's probably an average football player, slightly below average football player. But if he's your worst player on the offensive line, it's fine because the 4 players around him will mask that one weakness. The problem with AVT going out is that now Tippmann is not your only weakness or your not perceived weakness. Now you have one question mark at guard with Tippmann, and you have now a major question mark at center with Josh Myers. And now that entire right side of the line is a significant. Now maybe the Jets do some gymnastics where Simpson goes to the right side to protect Armand Membu, but if we're just assuming, because we haven't been at practice yet to see or talk to Aaron, I should say we haven't talked to Aaron Glenn yet to get his opinion on this. If they do go with Josh Myers center, Joe Tippmann right guard, Armand Membu right side, that entire right side of the offensive line is now a major concern because Myers, we discussed this, he can snap, he can't block anybody. Tippmann is not an above average guard, so he's an average guard. And now you have Membu, who's going to be taking his lumps as a rookie right tackle and certainly struggled immensely with Will McDonald, immensely with Jermaine Johnson when he went into practice. So, look, the one thing that the Jets could hang their hat on this entire offseason was their offensive line. They were going to run the hell out of the ball, and they were going to run the hell out of the ball because they were going to have an offensive line that was going to open all these holes. That's how it was going to work for them. Now that thing you could hang your hat on is can we run the ball? Well, can we rely on the offensive line? We like Olu and John on the left side, but what if teams just stack the right and just rush us from there? I mean, it's to me that's a big red flag, and I don't. We're going to find out a lot about it right off the bat because you got Cam Heyward, who Mark Kaboly was just telling us he thinks he's going to play. TJ Watt, if those guys are on that right side and they're going up against Joe and Armand and Myers, it's an issue here. I think a major issue. Real quick before we move on here, Zach, I do want your opinion on this, man. AVT, this was, you said, I mean, everyone said it's setting up for a major contract extension potentially or major contract in free agency. I actually think this might help his chances of returning to the Jets on a pretty normal contract.
Yeah.
I don't think this is his Jets career is over, shake his hands over. I think actually him missing this year, I don't think the contracts are going to be crazy for a guy who's missed this much time. I think him returning on a very team-friendly deal in free agency is a very strong possibility now. I don't know if you feel differently about it.
No, I've been getting that question a lot today. I agree because if there's a silver lining to this injury, it's that it's not he didn't tear his knee up, he didn't tear his Achilles, which he has done before. A triceps injury, he'll recover, get the surgery. I think he's getting it early next week, I believe I saw. And Aaron Glenn told us briefly today that he's going to be out for 7 months is how long it takes to recover. And then he'll be back, and he should be fully healthy, and he should be back to normal. He's just a guy that has the injury bug thing. He's going to have that along with him. But he'll be the same player he was before the injury, I think. So, you bring him back for whatever, 1 year, $10 million with incentives, and you let him prove that he deserves a big deal. But yeah, that's just going to be the thing. He unfortunately lost himself a lot of money when he tore his triceps in practice. And we talked to him on Monday about becoming a captain, and by Tuesday his season was over. And it's just one of the most Jets thing ever, and you just feel so bad for him. I'll keep saying it, but he's one of the good ones in that locker room. Everybody likes him. You won't find anybody who's going to say a bad thing about Alijah Vera-Tucker. So, but yeah, I would not rule him out coming back in 2025 or 26, I should say.
Yeah, I had a player text me after the injury and literally just said he was gutted, and it was just he's respected, he's beloved, and to just have another one of these injuries, it's again you have Zach. We've done this long enough. There are guys in the locker room that are just D-bags, and they're just not good people, and you don't get along with them. That's not AVT. He is a stand-up good person, to everybody, and it's tough to see a good person kind of get that kind of a beating. The Jets will, though, have to move on, and we're going to move on here to Justin Fields. You talked to Kaboly about it a little bit. I feel like I've said this ad nauseum and just regurgitated over and over and over again my concerns with Justin Fields. I think he's the biggest question mark and the potential biggest liability on this team's offense. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to cover winner, Jet fans. Don't think this is negative Connor just being evil and wanting you guys to lose. I want to cover a winner. You're happier, my life's happier, everybody's happy, and I would like to cover a playoff push and a Super Bowl champion. That's on my bucket list, and the only way I get there is if you get there. So I'd like to see the Jets win or go to the Super Bowl. They don't have to win it, but just go, please. With that said, my concerns are not going to be alleviated going into this game. I think the biggest thing the Jets are going to have to do to mask the issues with Justin Fields here, and I'm curious your take on it, they need to win on first and second down. If they're looking at 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, they are so screwed. They need to be in 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, and you get there by winning on first and second down.
Real quickly, I just wanted to take a second to stick the knife in you a little bit and point out that I've covered 2 Super Bowls.
You have covered a Super Bowl, right?
Including last year's, yeah. So I just wanted to make sure I rubbed that in your face a little bit.
I can do this, I think. I can do that.
Wow, you're going to get fined for sure.
Yeah, FCC's coming at me. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree that, I agree with your concerns. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen him with the ability to make the plays down the field when you need to have them. Even those move the ball drills, there were ones that they did pretty well, but that was them doing a lot of short passes, slants to Garrett down the middle. But when it's 3rd and 7 and you need to get it, or it's, you're trailing, you need to throw it a lot. Is Justin Fields going to do well? The path to the Jets, winning games, staying competitive, all that stuff, is they get the ball. I mean, I wonder if they're going to receive every week. When they win the coin toss, are you going to want the ball? Because this is a team that needs to start with leads. They need to be able to control the clock. They need the games they're going to win. They're going to be low scoring, 13-10, 10-7, Like that's how they win this game. There's a path to it. It's not an easy path. I don't know if it's sustainable over 18 weeks, but like that's the way you do it. So, on Sunday, if they come out and they score in that first drive, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, which is not something they did a lot over the last couple of years, like then you can feel pretty good about their ability to run the ball first and second down. If you have to throw it on third down, you do. If it's third and short, you run it, and then they have the ability to tush push with somebody like Justin Fields. So like that's the path to winning, but that's like not a sustainable path if there's no threat of passing the ball at the same time. So it's going to be a real interesting balance. And so I have concerns like you do. The hope is that they've just been hiding a lot of what they plan on doing with him, a lot of the creativity that Tanner Rankshire maybe is building up. Like maybe they're going to run a lot of stuff with a lot of tight ends and he move guys. It's a lot of trickeration, but I need to see Justin Fields completing passes down the field when you got to have it. Like they got to have it passes. Does he have the ability to do that?
Dude, there's no team in the NFL that wins without a threat through the air. And we talked about this last week, and I get what Aaron Glenn said. Oh, the team that won the Super Bowl last year was number 1 in rushing and 20-something the Eagles ranked in passing. Yeah, but they still had Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, who was Super Bowl MVP? It wasn't Saquon Barkley. Like
and
what
he threw
happened?
The ball amazingly that day.
Yeah, what happened when the Chiefs shut down Barkley? Jalen Hurts did what he did all year. He's throwing deep balls to Smith. He's throwing deep balls to A.J. Brown. He's throwing deep balls. Didn't Paris Campbell make a big catch in that game or something like that?
Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson. Thank you. Jahan Dotson. Like you still have to throw it. And if Justin Fields can hit the go balls, if Justin Fields can stretch the field, if Justin Fields can do in games but he didn't do in practices, you believe in him. You do. You believe in him. You believe in the Jets' chances. But I gotta see it. And I haven't seen it to this point. What I have seen is the Jets run the hell out of the ball. And that's something that I think we're going to see a lot of. I mean, Breece Hall, I don't think Breece Hall is the player that we all thought Breece Hall was after his rookie year. I don't think he's a top 5 running back in the NFL. I don't think he's a top 3 running back in the NFL. I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid player. I think he can help an offense, especially with his ability to run, his ability to hit the home runs. But he's not like that complete back that I think is ever going to run for 1,200, 1,300 yards. But that's why the Jets are going to use him. That's why the Jets are going to use Braylon Allen. That's why the Jets are going to use Isaiah Davis. And Zach, I was actually talking to Braylon Allen in the locker room this week because this is a preview of my pregame hit for SNY's Jets pregame show, which you guys should watch live on SNY before the Jets take on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is like when they do a trailer.
Right? Yeah, I used to have to do this with Jets class all the time. So I know Jeff, our executive producer, Jeff Goldman's going to kill me because I don't have it written down like exactly the time the show starts. But I think it's an hour before the Jets take on the Steelers. So 12 o'clock, SNY, Jets pregame live. But definitely check your channel guide in case I have that off. Hopefully one of you guys, Sam Candle, pop in my, or Candle, pop in my ear and let me know if I have the timing right. But I was talking to Braylon Allen for the pregame show, and I didn't know this. Dude, he spent the entire offseason, Braylon did. He and Breece was involved too, but Braylon was there the entire time, training with Derrick Henry. So he flew where Derrick Henry, worked out with Derrick Henry's trainer, and I was talking to him like, dude, like what was that like? And he said, like, Derrick Henry is an alien. Like, he is a superhuman. Like, what he does, it wasn't even like his benching or his squatting. He actually said there was this ab circuit that he had them doing, like Derrick Henry had Braylon doing, where he goes like, dude, I feel like I'm a pretty jacked guy. I could not move after that workout. It was insane. But when asking him specifically like what he wants to take from Derrick Henry's game, because there are similarities between Braylon Allen and Derrick Henry, because they are physical backs, they are physical specimens. You look at him, you're like, dude, I didn't know a human being could be built like that. But there's more speed to their game. They're faster than they're given credit for. I mean, Derrick Henry's a Hall of Famer, so I don't want to compare them too closely, but like we've seen Derrick Henry break 95, 90-yard touchdown runs. You don't usually see guys that big run that fast. Braylon is similar, where he's got a second gear, third gear that people don't necessarily talk about all the time. And he said the thing that he took away from Derrick Henry is that while people associate him as this like big physical mammoth of a guy, he said, he goes, when you go back and watch his long touchdown runs, when he gets to the second level, when he's got a corner or he's got a safety, he's not always trying to run them over. There are times where he stiff arms. There are times where he brings them down, but he's elusive in the open field. And that's something Braylon is hoping to add to his game this year, is that, yeah, he's going to lower his shoulder and fight for those 3-yard gains, those 4-yard gains, get those dirty, ugly runs. But when he gets to the second level and he has a safety in the open field, He's not thinking about run that safety over and pick up 5 or 10 extra yards. He's thinking about make that safety miss, stay on your feet, and turn the 15, 20-yard run into a 60 or 70-yard home run. And if he can do that, I mean, look, I'm very bullish, extremely high on Braylon Allen this year, Zach. I think if he can truly add that to his game, you're talking about a guy that could be, I think, legitimately push for a Pro Bowl, have Pro Bowls on his resume in the coming years. I don't know if that happened this year because he's going to be in a timeshare in the backfield, but he could do something impressive in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying, the Athletic, they had us, the U.S. have to do this where each beat writer has to respond to a prompt, and we had bold predictions for the season, and my bold prediction was that Braylon Allen leads the Jets in rushing this year. So I'm very, very high on him. To be fair, I was last year, and I got burned a little bit because they kind of got away from him pretty quick, and he didn't look great in those first couple of games, but he just looks bigger, stronger, faster. I think he's better in the passing game than any of us expected, and I just think he is someone that by the end of the year, we're going to be talking about him as their RB1, and I don't even think that's a knock on Breece Hall. I still think Breece is going to be a big part of this offense because of the passing game, but I just think Braylon Allen has star potential. I'm with you on that. I don't like agreeing with you, but I'd say I think he's going to be very good this year.
I would love for him to be RB1 because the biggest weakness in my dynasty fantasy draft is my running back position because I had Brian Robinson, and I have no idea what he's going to be doing in San Francisco now. So if Braylon Allen, who I made a futures draft pick trade for, if he turns into something impressive and is Jets RB1.
People love it when you talk about your fantasy teams, I heard. That's their favorite.
Oh, you should go back and read the old can't wait comment section on when I would bring up my golf game because that's what they really love. Speaking of golf game, Aaron Rodgers has a pretty good golf game, and Zach, I think this can be quick. The Jets want to shut down Aaron Rodgers. The Jets' goal going into this game on defense should be shut down the run and then just do everything they can to get in Aaron Rodgers' face, force him off his spot. I would travel Sauce Gardner. I would travel Sauce Gardner on DK Metcalf. Use him to take DK Metcalf out of the passing game. Yeah, I guess the tight ends could be a concern if what Kaboly was telling us is Jets have had issues my entire time covering tight ends. But if they could literally sit here now, man, and they can travel DK, shut him down or contain him with Sauce, mitigate the tight end slightly, and then just pressure Aaron, I think it could be a long day for the Steelers offense.
Yeah, I mean, Sauce has covered DK 2 years. He's covered him last year and I can't remember if it was 23 or 22, and he did a pretty good job on him. But yeah, I mean, by all accounts, Sauce is going to travel this year. It's going to be man coverage. I mean, he said earlier in camp he thanks these coaches every day for putting him in this defense where he's going to be able to blitz, he's going to follow. But as for Rodgers, I'm going to try and censor myself here like you too, but I would just blitz the poo out of him is what I would say. If you look at the numbers last year.
That's
what we're going. We're going to say poo from now on. But Rodgers' EPA against the blitz was one of the worst out of any quarterback in the NFL last year. I think the last few years as he's gotten older, it's been like that. And part of that is he does not want to get hit anymore at this stage. All quarterbacks that get to that age, Tom Brady even went through it. They do not want to get hit. So my thing would just be to attack him, attack Broderick Jones, attack Troy Fautanu. Those are the big questions on the O-line. Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson. I think Quincy Williams, I think, is gonna knock Aaron Rodgers' helmet off at some point from a big hit. That's my prediction.
We've pushed this before, but we appreciate everything you guys are watching us on. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Jets Final Drive. Whether that's X you're watching us on, whether you're watching us on SNY.TV, Facebook. I love the Facebook views because I have no idea where they come from. I don't plug my Facebook ever. So whenever I see 20,000 people watch this on Facebook, I'm like, hell yeah, Facebook, let's go. But like I said, the best place to watch us, I genuinely believe this, is YouTube. And the reason why is the live comment section. You guys can interact without the show. We had another question coming here, Zach. I was just looking at it, and I thought it was very interesting. Andrew Rinaldi wants to know who scores the first touchdown for the Jets this season. We were just talking about him. I think it's going to be Braylon.
So I want to say Justin Fields. I feel like that's an easy one, so I'm going to have a little more fun. I'll say Mason Taylor. And there's a voice in the back of my head saying Andrew Beck's going to score the first touchdown, but I'm going to say Mason Taylor gets the first one. They get into the red zone, little play action. They hit one of the tight ends on an easy 1 yard touchdown. Is 1 yard touchdown pass, first one.
This is only a few minutes here left on episode 3 of JFD. I'm having a blast here, man. So we're gonna go rapid fire with this part of the show. All right, so final thoughts summing up week 1. All right. I'm going to go Jets win if blank, Jets lose if blank, and you just spit out at me the first thing that comes to your head. The Jets win this game if go.
They successfully blitzed the poo out of Aaron Rodgers, and it's a low-scoring game.
Minus a point because you said poo instead of another adjectives for poo. The Jets lose this game if go.
The Jets score on the opening drive, and they control the clock.
I'm very close to basically agreeing with you. My thing was like, for them winning, I think they need to win the turnover battle by 2+. Because I think that means they're forcing a fumble.
I'm sorry, I meant the Steelers score in the first drive. That's how the Jets lose. I said that wrong. I said the Jets score in the first drive.
I think the Jets are mentally tough than you give more mentally tough than you give them credit for because of Aaron Glenn. Where I don't think that will deter them. Last year, deter them. I don't think that's going to deter them.
I don't think it'll deter them, but they need to pass the ball if they fall behind. Is my point. So
that's fine. My big thing too is the Jets lose the game. My Jets lose if their average. I went real analytical here. If their average third down distance is more than 6 yards, because I just don't. I swear, guys, I would just need to see it. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I just need to see it, but I don't believe in Justin Fields right now. Based off of what I've seen in preseason, all training camp, OTAs, minicamp, I don't believe in him as a quarterback. So if you're having to play in 3rd and 6+, he's got to be a quarterback, and I haven't seen his ability to do it. If I see it week 1, guess what? I'll be on JFD literally the day after the game being, boys, left hand up, my bad, I was wrong. But at this point, I don't know. All right, Zach, I'm ready for this. And this segment made me cry a little bit earlier because I went back. One of my favorite things to do on Jets Class when we used to have that digital show was our picks. And I would make my picks for the game and all that stuff, but then I would bring on Brooke, my daughter, to do it. And we started it literally when she couldn't even sit herself up. So I literally put her in the corner of the chair that Bree used to nurse her on, and then just held pieces of paper in front of her with picks to see what she would do. Jets this, Giants, whatever the line was, to bet her. She did that. Then she got a little bit older and she could reach for things. Then she could crawl for things. Then she could sit with me and walk for things. Now I literally sat in our play. Well, actually, let's just run the clip. So we're doing our picks now. The line right now for the Jets is the Jets are underdogs, 2.5-point underdogs.
So week 1 of the NFL season, Jets, Steelers. Jets are at home. The line right now, the Jets are 2.5-point underdogs. I need you to pick for me, for Dad, Brookie the baby bookie. That's a quick one. Who'd you pick? Turn it around. Show Daddy.
She listens.
Show me which one did you pick. Keep turning. Face it to me. Look at this one.
She's turning it the other direction. Yeah.
Hold it like that. Pittsburgh 2.5.
Now, Zach, you and I were talking to somebody over. My thing is she couldn't move when we started doing this show 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. Now she's sitting in her chair in her playroom, and I'm handing. She goes, "Oh yeah, here's the pick. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers." We were talking to somebody over at the Jets about this show going on. We were in a group chat with them, and I was like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. You want to go glass half empty?" Brooke was at the Jets preseason finale against the Eagles. She was on the field, got a chance to watch the Jets warm up. She saw that and immediately picked the Steelers. All right, that's glass half empty. Glass half full, and anybody who watched Jets Final Drive and has followed, or Jets Class, and has followed us throughout the show, Brooke is abysmal at picking games. I don't think she has picked a game right to the point where we had to stop with spreads. Or we were doing money line. We took money line out. We're all right, maybe she'll just get a spread right. No, she was wrong with that too. I will say this: I'm riding with Brooke right now. My pick as well is Steelers minus 2.5. I think the Steelers are probably going to win this game by 4. I can see the Steelers winning this game by a touchdown. It's hard to win if you don't have a quarterback, and until I see Justin Fields do it, I just can't believe in it.
I'm going crazy. I think I'm going to pick the Jets to win. I think Jets plus 2.5. I have the score as 10-9. Very low scoring affair. Get us out of there quick. Jets score a touchdown on a long run, and the defense stops Aaron Rodgers, who is washed up. So that's what I got.
Real quick before we wipe out, like I said, I love the interaction in this show. So I love when you guys watch on YouTube and you can interact in the comment section. This one came in from Nose Kills. Quote, somehow poo sounds more graphic in this context than just saying the S word. So I'll see if I can't get that approved.
Wow, I might get fined then too.
Yeah, right, yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining this episode of Jets Final Drive. It was an absolute blast as always. We have so much Jets content coming your way. We have Jets Mailbag, the new show that I have with Janae Coakley, where we take your questions throughout the week, and then we answer them from actually the Jets facility on Wednesday. So the first episode debuted this week. If you want to go on SNY's YouTube channel, you can watch the episode there. We took a ton of your questions, answered them all. We're going to do that again. Probably start compiling them Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll answer them again later in the week. So make sure you stay tuned for Jets Mailbag with Janae Coakley. This episode of Jets Final Drive, you can rewatch this across all of SNY's digital platforms. We're going to stay living on X forever. We're going to stay living on Facebook forever. We are on SNY.TV, and then we are also on YouTube. If you are going to watch us on YouTube, I say this all the time, make sure you subscribe to SNY's digital channel because you will get all of SNY's digital programming. That's not only Jets Mailbag. That's not only Jets Final Drive. That's also the Putback with Ian Begley, Mets highlights, Yankees highlights, all that fun stuff. So SNY's YouTube channel is the place to be. Subscribe. You will not regret that decision at all. If you want more Jets Final Drive, by the way, too, Zach, we are now going to be back to our normal time. Like we did this 2 weeks, 3 weeks now before the season. We're now going to be back to our normal time for Jets Final Drive. It's going to be the day after the game. You and I are both going to be covering Jets Steelers. Day after the game, you'll find us live reacting to it. Jets Final Drive. We hope to see you there. Big thanks to our producers, Corey Palmer, Brian Pincus, Sam Candell, and Jeff Goldman. You guys are the best. It's why Jets Final Drive looks as good as it does, because you and I, Zach, are not the prettiest people in the world. So they make us look good, sound good, all of that stuff. For Zack Rosenblatt, I am Connor Hughes. Thank you so much for watching Jets Final Drive. We'll see you guys in a few days after the Jets.